Hey, welcome back. This is episode 3 of the series Burnout is a Bad Romance. Let's break up. And what I'm doing is I'm correlating toxic relationship patterns with burnout patterns. Often I have found that they're correlated. And over the years of experiencing burnout and also walking people through unhealthy relationships through my career as a therapist, I had this realization that there is a correlation. And I was like, I gotta do some episodes on the podcast for this. So this is episode 3. If you had not heard episode 2 and episode 1, please go back because they kind of compound on each other a little bit. But yeah, this is episode 3. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm just so excited to have you here. Before we get into it, I just want to share a couple of things that we're working on here at See the Wonder that is so exciting for us. We are in the middle of currently hiring a couple clinicians for our virtual practice. If you didn't know, we have a virtual therapy practice. We are based in Florida, but are looking at getting licensed in other states. We do have one that is licensed in Nevada, and I'm sure there's a few that will be licensed in Alabama as well. So you can go to our website, seethewonder.net, to get all the information about the new clinicians. I'm just so excited to have them on the team because they are great assets as clinicians. And I love that we're providing therapeutic services for helpers, high achievers, neurodivergent, LGBTQ, biopic folks. It's our passion to come under the umbrella of burnout and compassion fatigue, which also comes under the umbrella of trauma. And that's where these people serve, under that umbrella of therapy and trauma-informed care. So you can check out the website for that. Talking about clinicians, it's been one of my favorite things in our career, my career, to support other clinicians. I have mentored for over 10 years, whether they're in a bachelor's level, whether they're master's level, they're pre-licensed stage, fully licensed. I have staffed cases, supported, had conversations, coffee chats, virtual chats, text messages with colleagues, with coworkers, with others in our community. And I really wanted to create a space for this. And so that's why I created the Supported Clinician. It is support and community around the realities, navigating the realities in our field. There's a lot, especially if you're in Florida, there's a lot happening with changes with the board, which I constantly keep up with and try to understand what's happening. And supporting other people around that, around their cases, burnout. That's why I'm here, breaking up with burnout prevention and recovery, because I almost left the field and I know what that feels like. And I just don't want other people, especially when you're first starting out, to feel burnt out. Often I hear people that say, I'm already burnt out and I just started in this field. So I'm here to say, hey, let's gather together. Let's support one each other and let's talk about this stuff honestly together. So I'm excited to bring the Supported Clinician to you on a monthly basis. If you are a pre-licensed or newly fully licensed clinician, this is a space for you to be supported. But you can get email reminders for the monthly meetings. It's all virtual. And the link to that will be in the show notes. Okay, we are also revamping some things on our coaching side. I do want to mention on the coaching side, we do have Real Relief. It is our coach, Lauren Powell, and myself providing an integrated support for neurodivergent families. We believe that neurodivergent family support and burnout recovery needs to be in the same conversation. So we're providing integrative coaching support for those that are looking for real relief in navigating the confusing systems and getting support for your child that may be neurodivergent or you're suspecting neurodiversity. and for yourself in burnout recovery. Links to more information about that is in the show notes as well. All right. Let's talk about this episode. We're talking about fear of leaving and identity loss. Burnout and bad relationships both trap your sense of self. So let's dive in. When we're in unhealthy relationships and in burnout, we lose a sense of self. Gosh, I see that so much in myself when I was coming to a place of burnout because I was breaking my own boundaries. I was going above and beyond. I was overworking and I kind of lost myself. Even some of the coaching I've done for myself personally and therapy that I've been through is gaining a sense of self. I am a people pleaser, recovering people pleaser. My words are flopped today. A recovering people pleaser, and part of people pleasing is losing yourself. Being a people pleaser leads to burnout because you don't carve out boundaries for yourself. And I have found I've done that in my life for people because I thought that was a way of helping people. So I was sacrificing myself to be there for other people. But the reality is I was slowly losing myself. And that happens also in unhealthy relationships. I have seen and sat across people time and time again. Like clients are like, I can see their faces are floating across my face, or across my mind, but I see them in my mind's eye of clients I've sat across from where they didn't know who they were anymore. And I think this can also be a broader conversation of being a mom and being in a family. Especially I have worked with a lot of moms and they also feel this way. They're like, I don't know how to have fun. I don't know who I am. I don't know what is fun for me. I just do what I need to do for my work or I need to do what I need to do for my family. So this sense of identity, this sense of self is lost. So here's a reflection for you. When did you fear who you'd be without the role or relationship? So this kind of brings it out a little bit for the work role or relationship. How did that keep you stuck? How did that keep you there? For me, I think it was a sense of I had to figure it out. It was going to get better, and I am going to stick it out or see when it came to work. Even I think of a relationship, I'd been in a dating relationship before I met my husband. Same thing. It was like, I'm just going to see if this gets better, or I'm going to do what I can do to figure out to make this better. And it wasn't. And I don't think it was fear, maybe fear of change, fear of failure, that I failed in the relationship or failed in the role. Definitely with the work when I left the job that I call my burnout incident, it was definitely fear of failure. That was something my therapist at the time when I worked on a ton about failure. I felt feelings of failure. Even talking to you right now, I can go back to that memory sitting in her office just crying and talking about how I felt about myself, how I felt like a failure, that I couldn't figure it out or couldn't manage my symptoms enough to be able to do the job well. And it kept me stuck in this pattern. Often both keeps you stuck in a survival mode. You're not really living your life. You're not feeling fulfilled. You're just doing the next thing. That can definitely keep you stuck. Same with burnout and bad relationships. It starts chipping away at your identity of what made you because you begin to compromise for that person, for that job, for other people. Period. You start not doing the things that you love to do. You start compromising, saying that's okay. You start justifying it in your mind. "Well, I just gotta show up. This is what I gotta do. I just need to do this." I think about hobbies often. I ask people questions on a regular basis, like, "What do you like to do for fun, for funsies?" There's no accomplishment. I know there's no end goal necessarily, but to enjoy the experience. And a lot of people are like, "I don't know." And I think I ask this question to myself often because I'm like, what am I doing in this season of life that is just for funsies? And at the moment, in the season I'm in, with a lot of the transitions I'm in, watching TV has been something fun for me. Sometimes I get hard on myself I need to do a craft, or I don't need to be watching TV, or I need to be doing something else. And maybe that's something I need to process outside of here for sure. But yeah, I have enjoyed. It's fascinating watching reality TV and strategy games and stuff like that. And I really enjoy it. But also at the same time, I really enjoy being outside. And I really enjoy doing puzzles. We have a couple puzzles to work on with my family when we're around them in Springfield, Missouri. But often right now we are on the road, so I'm like, I can't really take the puzzles on the road, so what can I do? So I'm really navigating things that I can travel with. I have coloring books and stuff like that I'm going to bring, and I have brought. I'm going to revisit that as well. And I've learned that I love my work so much, I tend to default on work because there's always something to do, right? Especially as a business owner, there's always something to do. And so your sense of identity can be lost in your work, can be lost in your relationship. So here's a question for you. If you weren't defined by your work or your relationship, what's one part of you that might flourish? I love this question because it begs us to dig deeper into who we are, things that we've wanted to do that we haven't been able to. So when I think of that question, if I'm not defined by my work or a bad relationship, so I'll think of a bad relationship because my husband and I, we're not perfect, but we have a pretty good relationship. What's one part of me that might flourish? I think there's a part of me that has always done some kind of active extracurricular activity, like rowing, pickleball, swimming, something like that. I think that if I would take a moment to carve out time to do those different things. Now, also, I have a chronic illness, so I'm having to navigate that as well. I think that part of me may flourish more because my whole life, pretty much until recently, when the chronic illness started to get worse, I was doing something. I was a part of a group of doing something active. Walking, a pickleball. I always think of pickleball because that's what I'm wanting to do right now, but I have to be careful with how I navigate pickleball in my life. I was on the rowing club team for a long time. I learned how to row in a boat crew team. I loved doing that. And if I ever live near a place that has it again, I will do it again. Dance, swing dancing. I grew up doing dance. I love dancing, Zumba, all of those cardio activities I have to be careful in doing now. So I'm like, I don't know what do I need to do? So I'm still kind of figuring that out, but I'm just sharing my story in order to help you navigate. We can lose our identity in a lot of different things. So when it comes to burnout and when it comes to bad relationship, often that sense of identity loss gets dependent on the work or the relationship. And then it's hard to leave. So another question I want to bring to you to think about is dwell on the fear that comes up that says, who am I without this? Think about a time when you or others clung to burnout because it defined you. Gosh, how often has burnout defined us for those of us that are helpers? Phrases we say when burnout defines us is, I'm so busy. Like busyness is a badge of honor. Or I do so much. Or I do a lot of things. It's the I can do all the different things. It's the I'm clinging to this identity that I'm busy and I can manage all the things that I'm doing. And really, you can't manage because you're burning out. I think of somebody I crossed paths with recently, and their workload has increased because of changes in their organization, and they're just like, I'm sinking. But I have the capability to do all of this, but I am sinking fast. But it's almost like, in some ways, it's a badge of honor. I am doing all these things. I am capable to do all of these things. I can do all of these things. And I was there too. I can think about organizations I've worked in. I always took on extra stuff because I realized I like diversity in my work, but also it was a sense of identity of, oh, I can do these things. I'm important. I'm dependable. I like to do a variety of things. But it doesn't, just because I can do it doesn't mean we're supposed to do it, right? Okay. Here's another thought too. What parallels can you draw to someone staying in a toxic relationship because they feared losing themselves? What I just talked about. There's a sense of identity within the relationship or within the burnout that makes you cling to it, or you fear failure or fear losing yourself without that person or without that job or without being in the flames of burnout. I think of people I've come across in my life, there's always something happening in their life. And I'm not saying they attract the stress and chaos and the burnout. And I've been seasons of my life where this has happened, but I think of people, I'm like, wow, there's just so much always going on. And when you get to know them and you dig a little deeper, there's a sense of identity that is happening to the chaos, to the burnout. Setting boundaries is too much for that person, or carving time for themselves feels too much and overwhelming for them. And I'm not dogging on them or anything, but that's like the reality of what's happening. There's something in their life that has caused them to continue on this cycle. And sometimes it's the belief that I can't carve out time for myself. I have to always be going. If I'm not going and doing and putting out fires, who am I? Or if I'm not constantly rescuing this person and being there for them, and they believe that's part of a healthy relationship, then who am I in this relationship if I'm not doing that? So, okay. Fear of leaving and identity loss that happen when it comes to burnout and bad relationships. I want to know what you think. Tell me in the comments, wherever you are listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Substack, Google, Amazon, wherever you find me. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think about this whole series. This is episode 3, so we're like knee deep into this series. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what you're feeling. I am curious to hear your experiences. Even though right now this is a one-way conversation because I'm sharing with you, I often think about you. And I think about who I'm talking to. And if we were sitting, I have my matcha with me right now, and we were sitting across each other and having this conversation about the fear of leaving work and relationships and the identity loss that happens. And I'm curious to hear your perspective, what you think, how this made you feel, what came up for you with the questions that I'm asking you. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I am so honored and full of gratitude that you listen in. And next episode of this series, Burnout is a Bad Romance, Let's Break Up, is about reclaiming empowerment and healing. So this is where we're going to turn the corner a little bit. So we've talked all about the parallels of symptoms of relationships and burnout. And now this is where we're going to turn the corner about what's a common theme that is required in healing from burnout and toxic relationships. Okay, I will see you because I feel like this is me talking to you. I will see you at the next episode. All right, talk to you later. Bye.